Well, good morning. It's Thursday morning, a little before 9 AM, and I'm back out on the bank, back out on the club lake, and I've got a day's fishing ahead of me. Not only that, the hours have been extended 9 till 4 PM, so an extra hour to keep the rods out, which is a bonus. So yeah, I've been down there sort of 10-15 minutes or so. I'm literally just watching the water for any sort of signs really. The conditions are really good. We've got double figure temperatures, a nice southwesterly, and yeah, it's kind of pretty overcast to be fair, so it's not cold in the slightest, hence the sort of lighter sort of soft shell jacket as such, and not my big puffy one. And yeah, just got me coffee to keep me going through the course of the morning. But yeah, at the moment I'm just really watching the water for any sort of giveaway signs as to, you know, a location. I could quite easily just drop back into this swim and fish to where I had that fish last week, but I don't want to just do that for the sake of doing it. If I see something somewhere else, completely different area, then yeah, I'll be on it. I don't want to, like I say, just rest my laurels on just fishing that swim for the sake of fishing it, because it might have just been a one show, one bite opportunity, and it could be completely somewhere, you know, somewhere completely different around the lake. But anyhow, I did walk the lake a few times this week prior to my session today, and I did have a good chat with one of the bailiffs, and he gave me a little bit of a sort of tip off at another good area to try, which is about sort of 5 swims up from where I am at the moment. I've had a little lead around when I got here, and I've managed to find a really nice sort of firm, clean spot compared to everything else around it, which is can be a little bit weedy in places. Some sort of fresh weed, anything from sort of like you know, an inch or two up to about 6 inches long, and it's green, so it seems to be still thriving, to be honest, and it might be a spot worth exploring. So rather than me just continue to rabbit onto camera, I would leave it there for now, and I'll come back to you once I've made my decision on what I'm going to do for the day. Second rod's just been prepared. I've got a nice maggot and pellet combo going on in there. In the corner, got a sea monster wafter, and then that's just tipped off with 6 or 7 maggots tied down on the cotton thread, just tied down, and that should they should wriggle around nicely on top of that wafter. So I'm going to get this one out, similar sort of area. I'm just going to chuck it over the top of that light weed that I found that was sort of, you know, around this cleaner area. So I've got one on the clean area, one just amongst that very low lying bit of weed, and yeah, we'll give it a few hours, and we'll see what happens. I'm on the move, so down into where I had that fish last Friday. The day is drawing on, it's sort of just coming up to midday, and based on when I had that bite last Friday, it was around sort of 2 o'clock-ish. I yeah, don't really want to leave it any longer. I spent the best part of sort of 2.5, nearly 3 hours up in that top swim, and yeah, nothing materialised. So rather than just sit on it, I wanted to, like I say, get myself down here, get myself sorted a good couple of hours in advance, just in case there is a similar sort of scenario in bite time, is that sort of late afternoon period. I have got another hour at my disposal as well this week, obviously with the fishing being extended to 4 PM, so it'd be good for me to get down here, like I say, get the rod sorted, get them out, get a couple of small sort of spombs of maggot out amongst them, and just sit back and yeah, hope that they move in again this week. But I've not seen anything, and it's a lot choppier down here. As you can tell, I've got the hood up. It's certainly fresh, even though you know, we're talking sort of 10 degrees or so. It's certainly fresh on the end of that wind. So just gonna have to wait and see, really, see what happens over the next 4 hours. But I'm gonna shut up there, get these 2 rods sorted, get them out, and yeah, we can get a couple of spawns of maggot over the top. Then, just as I've walked the rods out, due to the fact that I lost one of my distance sticks and I've had to order some more. They haven't quite arrived yet, but yeah, I had to walk the rods out down the bank. I've got them all at the same, like I say, I've got the 2 rods at the same same distance. I've got the spawn as well, which I'm going to obviously put out some maggots once I get the rods out. But very quickly, just show you how I'm sort of using it this time round. So I've got exactly the same sort of short 3.5 inch hook link, pink sea monster wafter, exactly what I had that bite on last Friday. And then all I've done to finish it off is tie on sort of 6 or 7 maggots. Now all I've done is thread a little bit of cotton through the loop of the hair and then fed down onto the cotton with a sewing needle, like I say, 6 or 7 maggots. And all you need to do is just tie a couple of granny knots, tie it down, and that ain't moving, they ain't budging, they'll stay on there. And as you can see, they just give another little sort of added attraction to the wafter hook bait. I'm putting obviously maggots in the solid bag as well, as you would have seen, like I've done just down the bank there for the first few hours. And like I say, I'm gonna put a couple of spawns out just because I'm gonna sit on it for sort of the next 4 hours. But yeah, that's the setup. Obviously usual inline lead, stem and tubing. Like I say, the only difference this time round is that I've gone with a sort of little maggot topper to just try and entice a quicker bite. Both rods are out, couple of spawns over the top of those 2 solid bags. What I had to do is just kind of bait up kind of 2 rods maybe to sort of like the left of where the rods have gone out, just for the fact that obviously the wind to allow the maggots just to flutter down and then sort of land amongst or in the area of my 2 solid bags. What I didn't want to do is just drop the spawn on top of them and then the maggots flutter down and end up sort of 2 rod lengths down from my actual baited area. So yeah, I've had to allow for the wind, just kind of move the spawn to the left as I'm casting out, and obviously then it'll just flutter down nicely and kind of create that little maggot carpet around my 2 solid bags. So yeah, they're out, and it's just a case of kind of just keeping my eyes on the water now, really hoping that they turn up in the next sort of 4 hours. I've had to resort to the car. The rain that we was expecting around sort of 5-6 o'clock this evening seems to have moved in a few hours early. So what I've done is just kind of just rolled the car up to the back of the swim, got the window wound down, and I can see the rods, I can hear them if anything was to happen, and I've also got a bit of visibility of the lake just to, like I say, watch over for the last 90 minutes really. I've not seen anything all day, but it's not to say that, you know, they're not in and around this area of the lake like they were last week. But the bags are staying out. Obviously I put a couple of spawns of maggot over the top as well, so there is enough down there to draw some sort of attention if 1 or 2 fish are mooching around. But like I say, I haven't actually seen anything through the course of the day. But we'll see it out for the next 90 minutes. We'll keep our eyes peeled and just keep a watch over the water, react to anything if we see it, if there's enough time. But if not, then we'll go again on Sunday. As you can see, back out the car, must have just been a passing shower, but rather than just sit in the comfort of the car, you know, with the engine ticking over and it being warm, I need to get out and put myself out to be able to see more of the lake and any opportunities that may have arose from seeing something show, you know, wherever that may be. But unfortunately nothing has happened. It's around 10 to 4 now. The rods are still out upside down on the deck. Horseshoe is down there as well, just trying to channel any luck down to the 2 rigs that are currently remaining out on the deck. I've literally, like I say, just got the rods and the net. Everything else is packed away in the motor, and wishing for a miracle to happen in the next 10 minutes. But if it doesn't, then like I say, we'll go again Sunday. So I'll leave it there for now, like I say, unless an absolute miracle happens, and we'll catch up in a couple of days. As you know, the fishing is limited, so I've really got to try and make the most of it, and that's pretty much by covering as much ground as possible. So I was originally fishing sort of over on that bank, sort of like the sort of entrance bank. I've come around the corner a bit more. My car is over there. My car's over there, and I've walked around sort of onto the spit. Now it's a really nice set of juicy, wow, 2 juicy snags that sort of come right out into this sort of section of the lake, and I'm thinking what I might do is kind of attack it from the other side to allow me to sort of lure the fish away rather than fish it from the spit side where it's a bit more sort of hit and hold. Whereas if I get over that side, then I'll be able to fire a couple of baits over towards them, and yeah, sort of use the distance between me and the snags to kind of lure them away, like I say, rather than do sort of like a drop a bait right on top of them, and sort of, yeah, like I say, do a bit of hit and hold fishing really if I'm lucky enough to nick one. But I'll just swing the camera around anyway without spilling me coffee all over the camera. But yeah, really nice. It's really similar sort of either side of this sort of swim. So a set of snags that really come out there, and then again on that side, set of snags that really come out. So it's kind of like 2 sort of goalposts as such, with that section of water in between. Like I say, if I drop a rod in just down here, I've got a chance that they could either go, left or right, and yeah, do me a treat. But if I fish from over there, I can, like I say, use the distance to sort of drag them away as such. I'm not going to go fishing up tight to them anyway. Like I say, there's this nice little section of water that allows me to put a rig and fish safely and effectively. Up from the normal sort of lead solid bag system to a lead clip system, and that lead is just very loosely nicked on there. In the eventuality of a bite, I want this lead to go, just because of the the 2 snags either side of where I'm going to sort of put this bait out. Just comes down to sort of 8-9 inch boom, and then spinner rig, Ronnie rig, whatever you want to call it. It's got a trimmed pink Scent from Hell Baitworks wafter, and 5 or 6 maggots bait flossed onto the end. Like I say, I've tested it in the margin, sits absolutely bang on. There's a little bit of putty there just to help it slowly sink down onto any bottom debris. But to be quite honest with you, I've chucked a lead over there 2-3 times and just had a little sweep with the lead along the bottom of the lake, and the lead's coming back absolutely clean. So I'm going to be 100% confident that that will be fishing. So all that's left to do now is get a little bag on there and get it out. Both rods are now out. A left-hander, I'll probably just move every hour or so, just have it in. and give it a recast. I stuck with a solid bag on the left hander, just kind of chucked it out 30 or 40 yards into open water, and I'll just keep an eye on what I can see water wise and react to anything that I do see, if anything at all. But yeah, the right hander is, like I say, going straight out between the two trees, fishing effectively, fishing safely, locked up nice and tight, bowstring tight line, so the slightest little beep that isn't the bloody coots that are over there at the moment, the rod tip should be knocking, and yeah, I'll be in, and the fish can't take any line and get into either of the snags either side. What I do need to do though is just keep him away from these rod tips, because I have got him sort of above the water at the moment, so I might have to either dip them down or just shoo him off. So either way, I'd rather not have my first bite being a swan. But all quiet at the moment, fair few anglers around, which is to be expected. It's a better day of the two this weekend, but yeah, there's a number of pike anglers sort of roving around and stuff like that, so just gonna have to make do at the moment and slot in sort of where I can if nothing happens here in the first few hours. But yeah, just gonna have to wait and see really, and see how the morning pans out. Well, that's the left hander in, rigs in, dried off, solid bag, ready to get it back out. Just hit another sort of little area of water and just keep it sort of freshened up, and regularly recasting to just see if I can try and drop a bag amongst one or two fish really. So exactly the same as how I normally build them, just dropping the rig inside the bag, tucking the maggots kind of into the corner, just laying the hook along the bottom. But what I'm not doing is squeezing the maggots too sort of far into the corner, just because one, I don't want to sort of burst them, because that will melt the solid bag. So I'm just literally getting the sort of maggots into the corner, and then the hook just running flush along the bottom. And all I'm going to do is put a little scooping of pellet into the bottom, because they'll help just sort of compact the corners out and sort of be able to squash it down relatively tightly if you start off with the pellets. And then sort of handful of maggots, get them in there, just building up the layers really. Just going to go sort of pellet maggot. So there you go, maggot, another little scooping of pellet, and I'm just going to keep building the bag like so. So a few more maggots, more pellet. When it's sort of half full, I'm just dropping the lead inside, so I've got a good amount of stem to play with, and then just put a few more maggots again on top like so, give it a little shake, and then last but not least another little handful of pellets, leaving myself sort of like a centimetre or so of PVA bag on top. Give it a loose, gentle sort of pat down. You don't want to pat it down too much, because you don't want to, like I say, pop those maggots or anything like that. And then all I'm going to do is get a little bit of PVA tape. You only need a little bit. Don't want to go wrapping it around the stem loads in these cold conditions, just because it does take obviously a bit longer to melt the more that you build up. So twice around the stem, tie it down, literally 2 granny knots, pull it down tight. A little bit of moisture on the tags, tiny little bit of saliva just to sort of tidy it up. Not that I'm going to be casting this out very far. And that's your sort of finished bag. And then all I'm doing, as I do before, push the corners in, pat them down again loosely, little lick, and again on this side, but ever so gently, because obviously the maggots are tucked in this corner. Little lick and a stick. So even though this has got maggots and pellet in it, you can still see it's quite a hard bag, and pretty much ideal really for casting out and getting a nice little parcel of bait in and around that little wafter with 5 or 6 maggots on the top. So that should be enough to entice any sort of fish to get in and amongst those bag content. So let's get it out there and see if we can nick ourselves a fish. Right, well, I'm on the move. Give it the best part of sort of 3 hours there, and nothing happened. The coots are sort of on me for the best part of it, and yeah, just not feeling it. So I've been and had a look sort of around the spit area where I had a little look this morning, and just going to go and change the scenery up for the last few hours. I can get a couple of rods down there. There's a load of snags and stuff down one side, so I'm going to go try my luck. It's literally 10 seconds up this bank, and I can just unload everything from the car. So let's get down there and give it a go. New swim, and the rods are out. So left-hander, as I mentioned, going down the left. It is literally snag central down there. There's overhangs and there's deep margins and there's roots and there's rocks and you name it is basically down there. There's a couple of little sort of gaps in and around them as well. So I've kind of gone in, just sprinkled a couple of handfuls of maggots down here, pretty much where I've dropped my rod. Just sprayed a little patch there, really hoping to kind of draw and catch the attention of anything that might be moving up and down, or even led up underneath these these snags. But it's deep, it's snaggy, and somewhere where you would associate obviously carp to be hiding out, or just keeping their heads down as such. So yeah, left-hander's gone over there, and like I say, it's gone down to really firm drop, so I'm confident that that is fishing and sort of ready to hook any carp. I don't know if you can see on camera or not, it's quite fine at the moment, but yeah, I thought sort of 5-10 minutes ago I could feel something landing on my beard, but just checked the weather and it looks like we've got some light sleet moving in for the next couple of hours, and typically that's happened after I've moved and my car is back down the bank sort of 100 meters away. So looks like I'm going to be stood out in this for the next couple of hours, hoping that it doesn't really turn into anything too drastic, but who cares, I've got 3 hours or so to try and bag myself a fish. I'll put myself through whatever it takes for one of these two to absolutely rattle off. So if it means I've got to stand out here and get freezing cold, then so be it, but we'll do what we got to do. Right-hander redone, so although it is actually sleet / snowing, I managed to get the rod in, get a bag retied and get it out into a different area of the lake before it actually melted in my hands, which is quite an achievement in itself. So yeah, it's been, like I say, it's been sleeting or whatever for the best part of an hour or so now, and yeah, it kind of comes in little heavier flurries and then sort of dies off and heavy again. But yeah, I'm just having to stand out in it and brave it. But like I say, it's a good probably hour and a half left yet. The whole reason I got the bag in for an hour and a half, let's just get it freshened up, get it back out there and see if it can nick me a bite before the end of the session. So that's exactly what I've done, and like I say, it's a bit of achievement getting it tied and staying dry and cast out before it melted on me. So fingers crossed something happens. Oh, that is fresh. That temperature has dropped right off, and getting those cold wet rods in, my hands are absolutely freezing. So yeah, that's it. That's done for another week. Fish really haven't given me much clue as to their whereabouts at the moment. I've tried a few different swims this week, you know, a couple of different tactics, but for no reward. But that's fishing for you, and that's pretty much winter fishing. So I'm gonna get the blower on, get myself off home into a nice hot shower, and we'll catch up next week where we go again and see if we can bag ourselves this winter biggie. Thanks for watching, take care, and I'll speak to you very, very soon.